Well, with 2024 hitting its halfway mark, let's talk the 10 best movies of 2024 thus far. These are the 10 movies that I suggest you guys should see right now. So take this as a recommendation. Get your pen out. Start writing down these 10 movies. Coming in at number 10, I selected Luca Guadagnino's Challengers, which let's just start off on the basis of Josh O'Connor and Mike Faist are incredible in this movie. It's a fascinating exploration of competition and what drives us. The movie this most reminded me of was Whiplash from 2014. I think both of those narratives serve a lot in similarities. You can really see a similarity in the idea of basically the torture that we are willing to put ourselves through physically and emotionally to compete at the highest level. And I think it's just a really brilliant way to tell this story. And I think Luca's direction just works so well. And Zendaya, who I thought was just slightly miscast in this role, I think they got the right type of actress to play this role. She just really fit into what these two guys would be obsessed / fighting over, and how she is then able to take that and weaponize their stupidity against each other works to wonderful effects. And you get this weird love triangle, seeing how all three of them need each other. I think it's a pretty well done look into the world of tennis, and it's a movie that I can certainly recommend. Even coming in at number 9, this is the case of a movie that I thought started off so well, and this would be far higher if the third act delivered. Late Night with the Devil. When this movie adheres to the premise of essentially a TV talk show host getting a girl who says she's possessed by the devil on his show for ratings, I found it great. I thought the premise and the tone just clicks in. You get what it is really quickly, and the scares are genuine. I thought it was legitimately a blast. It was super fun. The jokes hit when they hit, and the scares are rightfully scary. I really was into this movie. It does have the issue where they have this subplot of the Illuminati type group, and this hampers my enjoyment of the movie when it is just a movie of a celebrity doing stupid stuff to get people to watch his show. That's when this movie just really works for me. And when they just adhere to this 1970s aesthetic of a late night talk show host, when we're watching it from the audience's view, that's when I just loved what I was watching from this movie. Coming in at number 8, I've talked about this movie a lot. It is directed by Dev Patel. It is his directorial debut, Monkey Man. And when Monkey Man takes off, it is one of the most vicious, startling action films that I had in quite a while. I mean, legitimately, I think John Wick was the last one where I had such a visceral reaction when it is clicking on all cylinders. And there's this lack of elegance that comes with the direction of this movie, and it's placed with sheer ballistic righteous anger, which really elevated the experience for me. I think Dev Patel is a master in this genre, and the way that he utilizes himself as an actor is just fantastic. I really hope we get to see more of this from Dev Patel, because I just found him so wholly engaging in this role as the Monkey Man, and it worked to such great effects. Coming in at number 7, sometimes you just want to have fun in the theaters. One of the movies that I had the most fun watching this year was The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, directed by David Lynch. This is one of those movies that I walked out of and instantly could have just watched again. I had so much fun seeing this movie with my girlfriend. I thought the laughs were genuine. I thought the action was fun. I thought the third action set piece was the reason to see this movie. I had a great time watching this movie. It's one of those movies that I found heartfelt. I just genuinely had a great time with this movie, and it's such a silly premise, but it's such an ode to Hollywood that it just all worked for me, and the charm and charisma of Ryan Gosling I thought was at its best. So I can really highly recommend, if you haven't seen it yet, check out The Fall Guy. This is worth watching. Coming in at number 6, I am a sucker for Austin Butler. I am a sucker for Tom Hardy, especially when Tom Hardy is a crazy lunatic bike rider leader. And that's what we got in The Bikerider, directed by Jeff Nichols. This is a movie that explores toxic masculinity in the 1960s. Men struggled to really convey emotion, thus they convey it by all riding bikes together and getting into bar fights. It's a really just well done movie that utilizes all the tropes of movies that have come before it within the crime genre and elevating it. I really thought that Austin Butler as a movie star just conveyed something so earnestly handsome. It's so hard to be a pretty face and actually give genuine emotion as well, where I'm looking at him and I'm so dazzled by the special effect that is Austin Butler as a human being and the genetic pool that he's inherited. And yet, as that's going on, I feel and understand him as a character as well. It's such a gift that he has, and it really just all came together. You can see where they're channeling. You can see why Jeff Nichols was interested in this story. And I loved how this movie went, even if I didn't love Jodie Comer's accent in The Bikeriders. Coming in at number 5, I am just going to read my review for this movie. I haven't actually talked about this on the channel, but I did write a lengthy review for The Truth versus Alex Jones on Letterboxd. So without further ado, I am going to read it real quick. I was 14, about to turn 15 when Sandy Hook happened. I should note both my parents work as school teachers, my mother a 4th grade teacher and my father a high school math teacher. Sandy Hook was my first tangible encounter with school shootings. I was too young to remember Columbine and Virginia Tech. It was an odd feeling realizing that I could be murdered while at school. Of course, growing up in the early 2010s, I knew the name Alex Jones and thought I understood his shtick. He was a circus freak who existed on the internet to yell nonsense about gay frogs or lesbians wishing to eat my brains. By all accounts, it was a freak show, and we were all spectators pointing in bewilderment and amusement. That was until a few years later we lost my uncle to these same conspiracy theories. In watching The Truth versus Alex Jones, I must admit I was swept up by the grandeur of this being. It's compelling to watch something exist that feels no shame, nor is capable to feel remorse. Instead, I'm watching this man make an utter ass of himself, and I can't help myself but laugh. In a sitcom, he'd be everyone's favorite character. He'd be Cosmo Kramer. I'm then brought back into the harsh reality that the absurdity of Alex Jones is reality, and truth means nothing. The damage is done. He's not going anywhere. The Truth versus Alex Jones is more reminiscent to a survivor's guide, explaining how to contain and combat in one of the most frightening, upsetting movies of 2024. Coming in at number 4, I have one of the biggest spectacles of this year, if not the biggest. The madman George Miller has done it yet again with Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. The spectacle of revenge that is in display in this movie just makes me just love the energy of it. And Chris Hemsworth brings such a unique energy to the role of Dementis, which fundamentally reshapes the Mad Max saga. And the scope of the movie is just loads of fun. I just loved everything that this movie tried to accomplish, how ambitious it is. The choice for this movie to span a few decades, it just makes this feel epic. I just found it so wholly engaging, and in a movie theater, there is no other experience like it. And you realize how just much of a singular vision George Miller has, and every detail feels thought out in Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Coming in at number 3, this is the movie that made me laugh the hardest this year. Glen Powell is a movie star. There is no doubt in my mind. This guy has all the charisma in the world, and he weaponizes it to wonderful effects in Richard Linklater's Hitman. This is just one of the best romantic comedies we've gotten in probably well over a decade. I thought what Glen Powell does in this movie is just so much utter charisma unleashed onto the screen, mixed with this incredible love interest that he has in this movie, and you have a sexy, great time on Netflix that I just had a blast watching. It is such a great time, twists and turns all the way, and it zigs where you think it's going to zag, and it zags where you think it's going to zig. It was just an utter delight to behold Hitman. Coming in at number 2, I'm so happy to just say that I love this movie because the first movie is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. So to say that Inside Out 2 was of equal comparisons for me, where I thought this movie wasn't quite as good as the first one, but really damn close. I had a great time with it. I thought Maya Hawke's anxiety really just worked in this movie. And I thought the idea and message of self-love, how that's presented and expressed in this movie, I found it just so utterly engaging, captivating, and so necessary of a message to be told that I love this movie. I loved every decision that they made with this movie. The humor is all still there. These characters still feel fresh. And it worked for me on a complete emotionally devastating level. This one was just one of the most profound movies I've seen this year. And I really, really loved what Pixar did with Inside Out 2, and being able to take what the first movie did so well, build on it, bring in new characters, give nuance to these emotions, and really build something special in this franchise. And then my number one movie of 2024 thus far. This should be no surprise to anyone who has watched this channel, because I saw this movie in March, April, whenever I saw it, and knew I loved it. It was one of those experiences in the theaters, IMAX, and I was just like, this is it. This is everything that I want a movie to be, as a thriller, as a movie that feels relevant, as a movie that has something to say, as a movie that can just be enjoyed within the genre that it exists in, but elevates itself due to all the nuance and complexities within play at this world. It gives us great performances from just a lot of so talented actors. Actors of A-list fame come in just to steal a scene or two. And it's one of the most frightening, upsetting movies that I've seen. It is so charged in what it is trying to convey, and it is Alex Garland's Civil War. Civil War is just, it might be a masterpiece. I gave this movie 4.5 out of 5 stars on my initial review. I may be getting closer to 5 stars once I rewatch this movie. I really just have found myself thinking about this movie. The tenseness of this movie, it's lasted with me. The Jesse Plemons scene is one that everyone cites. There's just so much genius of this movie, and I think this world feels so fully thought out. Alex Garland creates just such a visceral experience in the theaters that I think is so unmatched, and no movie had me gripping my seat quite like Alex Garland's Civil War, which is just a fascinating exploration of where America is now and where we could be in a few years if all goes wrong. It's a special movie to me, and to be honest, by the end of this year, I don't know how many movies are going to top Civil War for me. I just think it is that good. With that all said, that's my best movies of 2024 thus far. What am I missing? What did I miss? Some movies, I know some of you guys love it. I'm not a Dune Part 2 fan. I really don't think that movie's that special. There's a few other ones. I just checked out Snack Shack today, which I thought was pretty good. Girls State, which I thought was okay. I know I'm still catching up. I haven't seen Kinds of Kindness yet. I haven't seen Horizon yet. I haven't seen Quiet Place or Day 1 yet. But they're all coming, reviews coming for those all soon. So if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel for more. My name is Ben Friedman. Thank you all for watching, and make sure you let me know your 10 favorite movies in the comments section below.